Hi guys, in this video I go over the parts of a basic C++ program. Now any command line program typically starts out with a preprocessor directive. And the exact preprocessor directive that I'll be using is the include directive. That includes the contents of IO stream. Now IO in IO stream stands for input and output. This brings in a lot of the functionality for reading input, such as a number or a username, into our program, or the output part for outputting and displaying content on the console. Next, I'll use a statement to default to the namespace standard. This will help to deconflict anything and to default to the namespace standard. Now, without going too much into detail of namespaces, think of a namespace like a last name. If we have two elements that have the same name, the namespace helps us to deconflict and to distinguish those two elements. Similar, like if two persons have the same first name, we can use the last name to distinguish these two persons. Next, I'll use an int main, parentheses, and then a code block. And then I add return 0. Now int main, this is the entry point to our program. This is where the program starts. The two braces here, opening and closing brace, this is the code block. This is where we write our statements, our instructions to the computer that will be executed when this program runs. The int stands for integer. Integer is a whole number, and this indicates what the result of this function is. So what the function returns. It is related to the return statement here. This says return 0. So 0 is a whole number. We indicate it. At the end, we will return some kind of whole number, and this returns 0. Now, it returns 0. This is kind of a special case with the main. 0 means the program ran successful. It's really an indication to the operating system when it launches this program, and then it gets a status flag back if there were any errors or not. Typically, you return 0 for successful, and then 1 or 2 if there's an error or something went wrong. Now, any statement, any instruction always ends with a semicolon. So this here is the instruction that I currently have. This returns 0, and then I end it with a semicolon. I want to add another instruction. So the next instruction is I output hello world. So any string, any text is always written in double quotes. So hello world, and again it's a statement. The statement ends with a semicolon. Cout stands for console out, and the stream insertion operator kind of pushes whatever I want to show to the console. So in this case, it takes a string hello world and pushes it out to the console. Now, when I run this program, it will display hello world, anything that's in the double quotes. Now you can see it just outputted double quote, and then that it indicated that the program ended. I can also add a line break at the end with ENDL, end line. So this is an L, not a 1. When I run this again, you can see it added a line break. Now the indication that the program ended is in a separate line. Now this is a statement, so don't confuse statement with output. For example, I could add some other additional text, how are you? And when I run this, this will be in a single line and there's no space in it. The reason for this is that this is really an instruction what I want to output. So the computer only sees I want to output HELLO, a space, WORLD, and then I end right here. There's nothing after the D. And the next thing I want to output is an H. So I didn't tell the computer that I want to output a space. I could add a space here and then run it again, and I will see the space on the console. So everything that is in double quotes is literally what's shown on the output. There are some exceptions. If I have backslash and N, this is like a special character to add a line break. So if I run this, this an instruction to output hello world with a line break, and then put how are you in a separate line. So ENDL or \n work the same. Now I could also split this up in two separate instructions or two separate statements. So I could put ENDL here and put another cout statement. Running this, it should be ENDL. So if I run this, this will be in two separate lines as well. Now if I were to remove this here and add a space, and I run this, you will see hello world, then a space, and how are you in a single line. I use two statements to output that content. So the statements and the output, they're not tightly related. It's really just an instruction what I want the computer to do, and the computer does what I tell it to. Now the last thing I want to cover is comments. So comments are kind of notes that a programmer can use to document or to leave some notes on the program. One comment is // and this is a single line comment. So here I can document something. For example, I want to greet the user, or if there's some complex code where I compute something, I may leave a comment too with a short explanation. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to document anything. So documenting these two statements, it's pretty clear that I do cout and do hello world and how are you. So it doesn't make sense. But for larger program, we can leave some comments. Or if you want to leave the name, you as a programmer who created this, or like the date when you created this, these are the things where you can use comments. There's another comment, which is a multi-line comment. This is /* and then it ends with a */. And this is a multi-line comment. So here, everything inside these two starting characters and ending characters will be ignored by the compiler. So there's no errors, everything will just be ignored. Whereas anything here, if I have a typo, cout ~t, it would cause a compile error. So we can see the error just showed up. So anything in comments will be ignored. This is kind of human readable, but anything else will be checked by the compiler. So this one works successful. I could add anything here and anything in the single line comment. So this is kind of how you get a basic program working. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.